Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, how we doing?
Doing great.
Where is the goat mask? I want to know. Where is it?
We don't need it. It'll be coming.
No,
It'll be back.
you should wear it every day all the way through the end of the finals because this is your time. This is your moment. The basketball gods have said, let there be LeBron's fourth ring.
Well, every Clipper should wear a mask because they should hide their faces. This is an embarrassment.
I agree. That is
of
true.
epic.
They are over and done.
Oh,
and LeBron is it.
Oh, no.
Hail to the king.
Oh, no. What about this? Is Kawhi town. Every time I turn around, this is Kawhi town.
Nope.
Boom, it detonated.
Nope, it's over. It's over. It is LeBron's town. It is LeBron's country. It is LeBron's world.
I'm glad you recognize. Yeah. I'm glad you recognize.
I do. It's over. Congratulations.
No.
That's simple. Well, since it is LeBron's town, country, it's over. How about we start by talking about LeBron and the Lakers and their path to the finals. It now goes through the Nuggets after Denver upset the Clippers by coming back from a 3-1 series deficit. The Nuggets have made it clear they do not fear any team. But according to Fox Bet, the Lakers are huge favorites to win the series at minus 650. Shannon, is this now LeBron's easiest path to a ring?
Oh, Skip Bayless, boy, you unbelievable, Skip. You good. I know you. You good. Now it's his easiest path.
I didn't say that. She just asked you a question.
I know, you. This is you.
Jenny didn't say it is.
No, don't talk to Jenny. We're not talking to Jenny. She's way over there.
She asked the question.
I know what Jenny asked.
And you're trying to flip the question as if it's the wrong question.
No. The problem that I have with the question is that when he spent his first, 15 years in the East, he could never, ever do in the East what he's doing in the West. He could never be a number one seed in the West. How could that possibly be? Okay.
Can I answer that?
No, you can't, because it's not your turn. She asked me. See, there you go. That's how we gonna do this. So he became a number one seed in the Western Conference. Then it was, he's playing the greatest 8th seed of all time. You and many others said that. He beat them.
You continue to put words in my mouth.
No.
What was my prediction before the Portland series?
Did you say that was?
No, I did not. What was my prediction? What did I predict?
Your predictions are terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm up 42 cases of Diet Dew on you, and my predictions are
Your
terrible.
predictions are terrible.
Really?
They're terrible.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. He gets the number one seed. He beat the 8th seed Portland Trailblazers with Dame Lillard, who just made his 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th All-NBA team.
Yeah, that's for the regular season.
Oh, hello, Skip. You got to make something, okay?
Yeah.
He did that. Then the Houston Rockets. Is James Harden any good? An MVP? He's also All-NBA. Russell Westbrook, All-NBA, former MVP. He beats them. And remember now, he lost both first games to both teams, ran the table after that. Now, all of a sudden, the team that everybody said universal, the Clippers are it. This is LeBron's kryptonite.
Yep.
They couldn't get over the hump. Now it's the easiest path.
Yep.
If it was so easy, why didn't the Clippers beat the Nuggets?
What does that have to do with this path?
So
they didn't beat the Nuggets,
so
right?
how did it get so easy? So clearly, in a 4-game, first of all...
Wait, are you going to predict the Nuggets are going to knock off the Lakers?
I ain't predicting anything.
Okay.
I'm saying in a 4-game series, the best team will always win. That's not always the case in football because anything can happen. Somebody make a 55-yard field goal, somebody get a tip pass interception. But are you going to get that 4 times? And considering that this team was down by double digits in every game that they came back and won, clearly.
Okay, lie detector. Were you more afraid of the Clippers or the Nuggets? Help me out.
Nuggets.
Be honest.
Nuggets.
Oh, stop it.
Nuggets.
You know what? The lie detector just went.
Let me tell you why. Because Kawhi has never had the pressure to be big dog with the expectations like he faced going to the Clippers. I already knew what Paul George was about. Now, you got a history. Now, as they say, if you study history, you understand what the present is and what the future will be. When has Paul George ever Okay.
You have you've argued constantly with me. The Indiana Pacers had Paul George, and you're like, that was a real test for LeBron. And I kept saying he's George Paul in the playoffs.
Skip. All I'm saying is that for that series, that's how Paul George made his name, by going 6-7 games with the Miami Heat. He did that. He didn't have any other superstar. I mean, he's doing that with Roy Hibbert. Roy Hibbert had a great couple of years. And then,
so which is he?
No, Skip. He had a great moment. But if you look at him since, what was that? That 4-game sweep when he passed up that shot?
I've said from day one about George Paul, he's not an alpha. He's a complimentary star. He's talented, but he does not have winning intangibles.
How about this, Skip? He's a superstar player, but he hasn't had his greatest moments in superstar moments when they're supposed to shine the brightest. He hasn't had those moments. But if you look at Yoke and you look at Murray, Skip, after being down 3-1, that should tell you what they're made of. The dude dropped 50 and 50 and 42, and Yoke is a walking triple-double. Skip, the guy's 7 foot tall. I'm watching him shoot wrong foot 15-footers and swishing nothing but net. So for me, see, the thing is, Skip, how's that what's that load management working for Kawhi? Oh, Kawhi load management. Only thing matters is the playoffs. And now I'm hearing they ain't got no chemistry. Now I'm hearing there's all kind of dissension. You hearing that too, huh, Skip?
Yep.
I ain't hear none of that during the season. Even Paul George says, nobody expected us to, this was never a championship or bust. Yes, it was. In June, you said that when they put this team together, it's always the expectation was always championship. Now you lose, you want to change the narrative.
I didn't change the narrative.
I'm saying Paul George. Skip, you got to stop this. Because they got the #1 seed, because there is no home court advantage, it's basically, they asked Coach Belichick yesterday, what was the difference between playing with no fans and playing with fans? He's like, what did it remind you of? He said, practice. And that's what it is, Skip. That's what it is. Basically, it is. It's basically your family members. And I don't know how many people in a bubble on a given time, I guess, as you progress in the round, Skip, more and more people and family members can come. So what are you thinking? 100? 150 people other than the teams that's in that bubble? In the gym? So for me, Skip, no, this is his hardest test. This is LeBron's hardest test. You're not in a
test?
You're not in a familiar environment. Oh. You're in a bubble. Okay. And we already said it. It's going to be, everybody said, it's going to be a mental challenge. You told me that's what makes the greats great, is the mentality. Now LeBron is mentally tougher than those choking bums, the Clippers. Now you want to try to minimize him, but I won't let you. I won't let you. This will be his greatest challenge, and we're coming out on the other side unscathed.
My turn. After all that balderdash you just spewed all over.
You know what time it is.
Yeah, I know what time it is. It is 4th ring time for LeBron because the NBA gods, the basketball gods said, let there be LeBron. This is meant to be. This is by far his easiest path to a ring. By far.
Why is it so easy?
They are now prohibitively favored. Fox Bet has them at 3-5 to win the championship. Guess who's the second favorite? The Miami Heat at 4-1. You threatened by the Miami Heat? Stop it. Nobody saw the Heat coming. Nobody expected them before the year to be much of anything, barely a playoff team at best. And now they're the second favorite to win the championship.
What were the Clippers?
That should tell you it's over.
The Clippers.
Well, they're out.
So how is that LeBron's fault?
Okay. So I told you all year, and I stand by this, the Clippers were built to beat the Lakers. The Clippers would have beaten the Lakers, but the Clippers kept looking past a Denver team that if it gets hot, which is not always, but when it gets hot, it's hard to deal with if you're not taking them seriously. The Clippers quit playing defense. The Clippers forgot how to play offense. We're going to talk about them in just a moment. I don't want to talk about them anymore because it was an epic collapse, obviously. So it's over. They're out. And it clears the path for LeBron James to beat a Denver team that he beat during the regular season 3 out of 4 times. And you're saying, Jokic is the best big man in basketball.
He is.
Look at his numbers against the Lakers in the regular season. He was 16-6. You like that? 16 points and 6 assists. Through the playoffs, he's averaged 25 and 11 rebounds.
You like that?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
I'm just saying against your team in the regular season.
Does it matter? Does it matter?
It's just ridiculous. How about Jamal Murray? You ready for this? Against the Lakers in the regular season, he shot from 3 for 19. Try to process that. That's 16%. Jamal Murray, 3 for 19 against the Lakers. It's a joke. It's over. It's a Djokovic.
If you don't mind me, Jokic, let me ask you a question. What was Jamal Murray's numbers? What was Jokic's numbers against the Clippers in the regular season?
What does it matter?
Because you try to correct regular season.
I don't care. I don't care.
Okay,
I can just tell you what they did.
Playoffs doesn't. Regular season doesn't matter.
They just owned them.
Regular season doesn't matter.
And by the way, the Lakers led the whole NBA in points in the restricted area. So right at the rim, the Lakers led the whole NBA with 22 field goals a game.
Are you surprised?
And 21 in the playoffs still leads. And they averaged, in those 4 games, 24 field goals a game in the restricted area.
Why are you surprised by that?
They were destroying Joker. They turned him into a joke at the rim. He was not rim protecting against the Lakers.
But, Skip, that's not what he is. Okay. He's not Mark Eaton.
Okay, all right.
He's a skilled offensive big man.
Mismatch.
Hold on. But he did have 3 blocks the last game, though.
Okay. So here's what just happened. LeBron made an MVP push at the end of what was the pre-pandemic regular season. Before it got stopped, he had about 3 games big time. And I told you, I thought he edged ahead in MVP. An extraordinary achievement for a man who's 35 years of age, nearing the end of his 17th season. And he made first-team All-NBA yesterday, which he should have made. Okay. Way to go. And then the gods said, let there be LeBron. You get 5 months off. 5 months off? You're at the end of your 17th season. And I told you, I first guessed this. I told you in our pandemic shows, what an incredible break for him, because 2 things were operating. He got to rest up and revitalize his aging body so that he doesn't have to really worry about risking another pulled groin. He got to completely heal up and prep for a bubble that he's made for the bubble, because he can go into AAU-style dedication with his team.
He's the only one that can do that?
Well, no, but he's the best at that. So,
okay. So he.
I think I'm talking. I think it's my turn now.
That hurt. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's gonna hurt when you get that ring.
And I first guessed this, as I always do on this show.
You picked the Clippers.
Stop it.
How did you first guess it if you picked the Clippers?
I'm going to steamroll you, and it's my turn, and I'm going to talk from here on.
Go ahead.
I first guessed this. I told you the Clippers needed reps. They didn't need rest. They needed reps. They needed to finish out the regular season and play all 82 games together, because Kawhi and Paul George had only played 37 times together, and they didn't get their reps. They didn't even want to go to the bubble. They were one team that had about 5 guys on the fence to opt out. And finally, at the last second, they talked Lou Williams into coming, and he said, yeah, but my heart's not really into it, so I'm going to go to Atlanta for this service, then I'm going to go to Magic City, I'm going to get my wings, and I'm going to look nothing like myself through the whole bubble. I couldn't even recognize him.
Can I ask you a question?
It's advantage LeBron. Okay, let there be. I think I'm still talking.
I just want to ask you a question.
You know what? I let you talk for like 7 minutes to start the show. I think it's my turn.
Go ahead.
Okay, so then we get to the bubble, and what starts happening in the bubble? They get to play a Portland team that was 35-39, 4 games under 500, and it overachieved and got quote unquote hot at the end of the, the wrap up of the regular season, and made it into the back end of the playoffs. And what did I tell you? I first guessed it. I said, this is a joke. This is a sweep. And it should have been a sweep, because your man had the ball in his hands with 7 minutes left, up 6 on the sorry Trail Blazers. And what happened down the stretch? He got outscored, the Lakers got outscored 19-6, and they were embarrassed that they blew this game. So then what happens in game 2? They win 111-88, and what happens to Damian Lillard? He dislocates the index finger on his non-shooting hand, so he's got issues going into the next game. They win that one 116-88. And then game 4, they're winning 135-115, and Damian Lillard wrenches his knee, sprained, and he's gone from the bubble. So you don't even have to worry about him in the closeout game, and you score 131 more points on the worst defensive team in the bubble. And that's who you get to beat You should have ramrodded them right out of the bubble in 4 games, but you blew the first one because I guess you didn't take them seriously enough. So then here come the Rockets. And I predicted on the show, as I often do, I went way out on the limb and I said, Rockets straight up win game 1. And guess what? They won it easily. They won it 112-97. I thought, here come the Rockets.
Yeah.
The Lakers sucked it up, got focused, refocused, and they won game 2, 117-109. And guess what happened? Right on schedule, Daniel House bubble burst. You know the story. We all know the story. And the Rockets didn't know the story till they got to the locker room ahead of game 3 and said, he did what? He's gone? Yep, he's out. And all of a sudden, I hark back to the Mike D'Antoni quote of the off day, the day before. He called Daniel House maybe the most improved player in all of basketball. He called him one of the better players in basketball.
Man,
those are quotes from Mike D'Antoni. Because against Oklahoma City, he had games of 19-9, 15-10, 21-6, and in the first game,
he was a journeyman.
Yeah. Oh, journeyman, really? Those
yes.
Boy, those look like star numbers to me.
Oh.
Did I make those up? Nope, but they make you look silly as usual because he was really coming of age as a two-way player who could help defend
Skip,
LeBron.
this is ridiculous.
6'6", 220. Nope, I got you again. And he's gone. And you could just see the body language of the Rockets collapse. And they were no contest in game 3, 4, and 5. I thought they basically just quit. And all of a sudden, you're in. You're in the conference finals.
They quit like your Clippers quit.
Yeah.
You first guessed it. You always first guessing everything. Yeah. You picked the Clippers.
Oh,
nothing else matters.
Yeah,
you picked the Clippers.
Me and much of the rest of the world.
And you were wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Admit that. You were wrong.
I told you I was wrong.
No, you didn't.
And you were so lucky that they didn't take the Denver Nuggets seriously enough. And look what they get to do now.
No. Hold on.
The Denver Nuggets are a three-point shooting product. That's all they do. Look at what happened. They have won 8 games in the playoffs. The Nuggets have. And guess what Jokic has done in those 8 games? He's made 53% of his three-point shots. They have lost 6 times because they lost a bunch because they were down 3-1 twice. In the games they lost, he shot 31% from 3, which will not work. So you can just see what's happening.
Yeah, I see.
They're a product of his three-point shooting.
Hold on, wait a minute. You keep talking about, what about all this load management that you said Kawhi had it figured out?
We're talking about the Nuggets.
No. You talk about what you want to talk about. Allow me. Allow me to talk about what I want to talk about. You done filibustered and talk about a whole bunch of nothing.
Talk about something that's off subject.
It bothers you because for the next 3 months, you're going to have to give that man his credit for winning another ring.
It's a cakewalk.
It doesn't matter.
It's over.
It doesn't matter.
It's the cleanest, easiest path to the finals ever in the history of this league. It does not matter. No superstar has ever had an easier path.
Champion.
Yeah, it will.
Champion.
Yeah.
Because what happened to the Clippers?
It will have an asterisk.
Hold on. What?
Pandemic.
Hold on.
Yep.
What happened to the mentally tougher team? Everybody, you was the main one that preached mental toughness.
I did.
Where is Kawhi? Where is those dogs? Doc Rivers.
You know, you are so lucky they're not playing you right now because they would bite you. These dogs bite Lakers.
You had an opportunity. That's like, you know what? And I told you yesterday, the Clippers built their team to beat the Lakers. Everybody else built their team to win a championship. That's like a man buying snow tires in Miami. Why the hell would you buy snow tires in Miami?
I don't think that's... That's not a good analogy.
First of all, Skip, the Lakers don't have the championship. Why are you building a team to beat one specific team?
Well, because obviously they were...
Well, obviously you made a mistake.
Yeah. You know, the odds makers going into the bubble had the Clippers favored to win it all.
And guess what?
Interesting.
And guess what? And suckers like yourself and others bet with the Clippers, and that's how Vegas keep building bigger buildings. That's why Steve Wynn got a $2 billion building. If somebody coming along because people like you that think you know everything, you first guessed it. First guessed this. I the one that told you Kawhi didn't want to play with LeBron. He wanted to beat him. You want to beat LeBron, and you can't beat the Nuggets. How you looking now? How you looking now, Skip?
You're looking on the outside end.
I'm looking good, because my team is still playing. Your team is not.
You had the audacity to say, this is LeBron's biggest challenge. It is a joke what just happened. It is over and out. It is a clean path right to the championship. You might as well have the parade on Monday.
No.
Why don't you just lead the parade?
That's not what you said.
Yeah.
Because, hold on. You celebrated. Remember opening day, how you was gloating? You remember Christmas, how you were gloating?
Oh, was
Where's that energy now?
Well, again, they look past the Denver Nuggets,
Why
and you won't.
Hold on,
You won't.
hold on.
You match up way better than they do.
What? No. You told me is that what you guys can do, you can just flip that switch and then boom, they detonate that defense. Pat Bell, Paul George, Kawhi.
Against the Lakers, they do.
Oh, Skip.
They gave the Lakers all they wanted.
Skip.
They clearly look like the better team when they played the Lakers.
Skip, it was 2-2.
Yeah, but
it was 2-2.
The two they lost, they still look like the better team.
Skip, we had the lead, remember? You keep talking about the Lakers had the lead.
Yep.
You keep, hold on. You said, oh, LeBron had the ball in his hands,
yep,
and they were up on Portland by just many points. Your guy had the ball in his hand how many times in his hand? Up 19, up 15,
yep,
up 12,
they
up
lost.
6. How good? So what are we talking about?
You got it. The heavens open.
No.
LeBron is going to have a super highway to the basket against Joker.
First of all,
trust me.
The Nuggets beat the prohibitive favorites to start the season. Everybody picked the Clippers. LeBron has gotten old.
Yep.
You were the main one harping down. How old is he now? Is he 30? Is he 35? Yep. Is he 40? Is he 42?
It was a monumental upset.
Wow.
And it was born of not focused on the right opponent. Looking to the Lakers, looking ahead to the Lakers, they underestimated the Nuggets until they were in too much trouble, and the Nuggets shot them right out of their misery.
Well, Skip.
Watch what happens to the Nuggets. They are about to turn back into midnight pumpkins. So they won't be making these
if they turn into midnight pumpkins, what were the Clippers?
Well, again, they underestimated the Nuggets.
Hold on.
I just told you what they were.
How you underestimate somebody that's in the playoffs? And now, if it was one game, I would give you that, Skip. I say, you know what? They underestimated them. But how you underestimate somebody 4 games? Okay, well, explain to me, why did they struggle so much against the Mavs? With just Luka, first of all, they wouldn't got past the first round if Kane Fitzgerald hadn't intervened and threw Porzingis out. You know that, I know that.
All I want to know is, how did Jamal Murray shoot 3 for 19 in 4 games against the Lakers from 3? 3 for 19? Are you kidding?
Is he shooting 3 for 19 in the playoffs?
This will be just a cakewalk. This will be one of those where you just sit back and say, I don't want to watch this.
Hold on. I'm trying to figure this out. You said you criticize a guy if this is what you beat James Harden up for. Because the numbers that he put up in the regular season, he never does that in the playoffs. Now, here's Jamal Murray putting up numbers far superior to what he put up in the regular season, and now you criticizing him.
Well, in this playoffs he has, not in last year's playoffs.
Okay. Skip, it's over for you.
Yeah. So what are you picking? Lakers in 7?
Lakers can win in 18.
Really?
We're going to get a ring. Skip, it's going to be...
You already have a ring. I already told you it's over. You got it.
See,
way to go.
The one thing we don't do that your Clippers did, we underestimate no one. We respect everyone, and then we're going to play basketball. Your guys respected no one because you thought you could just... I just want to know that load management. Oh, Kawhi Leonard got it figured out. He load manages. Oh, you forget. Them old creaky knees can't play every day. He can't practice. You remember Paul George was dealing with hamstring issues. So it came at the right time for him, too. This pandemic happened at the right time, so he got healthy. What about Giannis? Remember Giannis had hurt his knee against the Lakers? He was missing some time. So the pandemic helped a lot of people. Excuse me. I'm not going to say it helped, but it gave the basketball players a chance to rest, get their bodies healed up. So everybody was fresh. It wasn't with LeBron. Everybody was fresh. Fresh. And your team going home.
You know what? You even have the psychological advantage against a Mike Malone. Remember what he said during The Last Dance about your man LeBron? Mike Malone coached LeBron for 5 years. He was an assistant in Cleveland, and he was quoted right in the middle of The Last Dance. He said that LeBron did not have the same killer mentality that Michael was supposed to have had because he didn't coach Michael.
Right.
So that was quite a shot. We talked about that for
We're about to find out what kind of killer mentality LeBron got, right?
Obviously, LeBron will have that quote on his suite wall up there in the bubble, right?
LeBron got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
We ain't worried about that. We're gonna play basketball. We're gonna throw it up and we're gonna see what happens. in about 2
LeBron,
weeks.
Mike Malone questioned your killer mentality, as I often do.
Look here, Skip
Here
Bayless.
we go. You got it all.
Skip.
You got every reason.
Mike Malone was one game away from
Pick a sweep. Pick a sweep.
No. I don't got to pick no sweep.
Yeah.
Lakers win.
They're
That's the sweep.
7-point favorites
sweep.
Friday
No,
night for game one.
They should be playing the Clippers.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Several players have mentioned chemistry as the reason the Clippers fell apart against the Nuggets. Now Kawhi Leonard is adding one more reason. Following their loss, Kawhi said the Clippers, quote, just have to get smarter as a team. And when this team is playing us a certain way, trying to get the ball out of my hands, packing the paint, we've got to know what to do. So, Shannon, do you read this as a shot at Doc Rivers?
I view this as an indictment on Kawhi Leonard because that's your job. If you're the player that everybody says, because I got a quote. I follow Skip Bayless from time to time. I hop in and off your time. Don't worry about how often I follow you. This was sent out by Skip Bayless. You real Skip Bayless. On May 4th, 2017. Hey, LeBron.
Wait a second. You're going back on my Twitter to May 4th, 2017?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, LeBron, it's over. Kawhi Leonard is now the best player in the NBA. Sorry. Real Skip Bayless. That's you, right? Blue check mark.
Two-way player. Yeah.
No. Anyone two. I don't see no two. It said the best player. But that's not here nor there. Hold on. He said maybe it would be beneficial to play more regular season games. Really, Kawhi? When you had it built in, you and Uncle Dennis about load managing at least 20 games a year. Now you want to play more games. You can't practice because your knees bulky. Whoa, I can't believe this. Can you imagine if LeBron James in a game 7 goes 1 for 11 in the fourth quarter, scores 2 points in the second half, 0 in the fourth quarter, and blames the loss on the team's IQ. Remember when LeBron James lost his last game? You came up with all them shenanigans. He was sedated. Oh, he was this and that. No, Kawhi. You're the best player. Too many people have said you're the best player in the NBA. Don't do this. Don't put this at Doc feet. This is on you. You wanted to come to the Clippers, remember? You didn't want to play with LeBron. You wanted to beat LeBron. How about beat the team? What happens if you're not playing LeBron? Skip, this is embarrassing. Hold on. What does IQ got to do with a team that you up by 12 in game 7? You're up by 19 in game 6. You're up by 16 in game 5. I want to know what the hell does IQ, because did you use your IQ to get the lead? And then all of a sudden you got dumb and couldn't keep it? No, Kawhi, you gagged this one, bro. Wear it. You know that little fake crime that you had to do to try to take your little shot at LeBron? Put that on top of your head. The faux king. He the faux king, Skip Bayless. It hurts you. You got no. You said the Clippers. And I don't care what everybody else said.
Okay, how many times are we going to say that?
You said it.
Yeah.
So don't be talking about it's easy.
So this is the first time in the history of this show that you've been able to gloat about anything, and it's getting a little bit old.
No, it's old now.
Yeah, it's
old now.
But
Own
clearly,
it.
who is my favorite team in the NBA?
I don't know.
Who is it? I'm asking you.
Anybody that plays LeBron.
Who's my favorite team?
Anybody that plays LeBron?
It's obviously the San Antonio Spurs. Who did I tell you for 5 years was my favorite player in the league? Kawhi Leonard. What was happening in May of 2017? They were in the playoffs.
Right.
And he was playing at a supremely high level, and I'm a huge fan of his and theirs.
Yeah.
But once he quit on my team, once he clearly had a master plan to get out of San Antonio to Los Angeles, I was out on him for a long time. I couldn't even speak his name. And I told you, I have forgiven, but I haven't forgotten.
Why haven't you forgiven?
So the point is that obviously since Kevin Durant went to Golden State, then he clearly took over the whole league. I've never seen anything like it before. And he took over LeBron in LeBron's house in 2 straight game 3s in which LeBron, as usual, predictably came up small at home. And Kevin won back-to-back finals MVPs by outplaying LeBron right in his grill in his house to back-to-back game 3s.
Skip, how did he come up small? Do you realize in the first game, LeBron had 42, 14, and 9?
You realize what happened at the end of that first game?
You see what you did see?
Well, what happened?
But I thought it was stats.
What happened? What happened?
It was stats.
Kevin came right down the court and just pulled up right in his face and ripped a 3 that changed the whole game.
So if the man makes a great shot.
Okay, so whatever. It doesn't matter. I told you that Kevin Durant became the best player in basketball.
Okay.
Going into this year, Kevin was still the best player in basketball, and I said it 1,000 times on this show because Kawhi Leonard had fallen back a notch because I didn't think he played very well for Toronto. He hit the luckiest shot I've ever seen to win Game 7, and they survived on luck. And then they got a lot of breaks. What did you say? When they got to the finals, there's no Kevin Durant. Then he comes back for a moment, and he's gone. Then Clay is gone, and obviously they got huge breaks.
But nobody cared about that. They said he won. They didn't look at KD not being there. They didn't look at Clay getting hurt.
Okay.
They said Kawhi now is the best player.
Okay, now back to the issue at hand. Yes, I interpret these quotes from the leader of that team as shots at the coach and his staff because Kawhi Leonard is saying, when this team, meaning Denver, is playing us a certain way, trying to get the ball out of my hands, which clearly they were, packing the paint, which clearly they did in the last 3 games, we've got to know what to do. Well, think about that staff. Is there a better coaching staff in basketball? Doc Rivers, he's my favorite coach. Ty Lue, one of my favorite coaches, is sitting right there at his left or right hand, whichever way they do it. And Sam Cassell, highly regarded around the NBA, and that Rex Kalamian, do you remember him from Oklahoma City? He was Kevin Durant's favorite coach in Oklahoma City from 09 through 15.
Okay.
It was his guy, and he's on this staff also. Well, that's a lot of brain trust, brain power, right? So wouldn't you think that as a group, starting with Doc, they could come up with some new plan to stop the bleeding? Because clearly the momentum had swung wildly to Denver. The pressure was mounting on the Clippers. There was no pressure on Denver. It was all on Kawhi and the Clippers.
And how did Kawhi do?
Well, he did really well until the last game because he led the team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks for the 7 games. He led his team, so you can't fault that.
Yes, you can.
And again,
yes, you can.
The first closeout game, 4th quarter, which was game 5, he scored 13 in the 4th. Is that good? That seems pretty good to me.
So
is that choking?
So now it's about numbers. I thought it was about winning.
Okay, whatever. So then the second closeout game, 6, he scored 9 in the 4th quarter, which is pretty good.
Oh, pretty good.
And they had chances to win both those games because they were up going to the 4th quarter. So he was doing his part, but he got no help from anybody else. He did very well. He shot the ball well, shot the 3 well in both those 4th quarters. Then came the epic fail, the epic collapse of Game 7. Nobody played well in the whole second half. He was atrocious. Paul George was George Paul. Kawhi was 1 of 11. What was Paul George in the second half? 0 for 6 from 3.
Yeah, he was 4-16 for the game. So.
All right, so he was horrendously bad, epically bad. And yet I told you what happened in the biggest picture. I told you, I first guessed this. All year I told you Lou Williams is the closer. Obviously, Kawhi is the best player, but the closer, I've said it 1,000 times on this show. I don't love Kawhi closing games. I never loved it in San Antonio. He's not a big last shot maker-taker, but Lou Williams can be. So I said, he's got to be that guy when it's time to stop the bleeding. Somebody has to say no to the Denver Nuggets. Lou Williams, in the 7-game series against Denver, shot 4 of 27 from 3. But let that process for a second. 4 of 27? That's 16%. It's horrendous. It's hard. You can't overcome that when the guy who is your spark plug, your lightning rod scorer off the bench, prevailing 6th man of the year. I don't know how many times. Won it 3 times?
3 times.
So he didn't want to go to the bubble in the first place. Had to be talked on the final day when you could commit to it.
Right.
Doc talked him off the fence into the bubble. He wasn't into it from the start. He wasn't in shape. He had his little soiree to Atlanta, went to a funeral, then went to Magic City, had to quarantine for another 10 days, and he never looked right. So when it was time for the closer, the 6th man of the year, to take over, he shot 4 of 27, and it got so bad in the last 3 4th quarters, he wouldn't even shoot. He shot 7 times in 3 4th quarters, 5, 6, and 7. That's impossible. You're not going to win. So what was Denver doing? They'd say, we are going to trap Kawhi and take the ball out of his hands. What's your plan, Doc? What's plan B? So Kawhi would try to split the double team, except he quit shooting his pull-up mid-range, which is just Jordan.
Because he was clanking it.
Oh, what?
Clank.
And then he started driving the ball to the rim. Well, he's not LeBron. He doesn't pack the wall up that LeBron. LeBron is 6'9", 250. Kawhi might be 225. He doesn't carry the clout that LeBron does.
Think about this, Skip.
So Joker was owning Kawhi at the rim, especially in Game 7. He would not let him get to the rim. And Kawhi was looking more and more pathetic and foolish.
But here's the thing, Skip. If you look at what did the Clippers do? They double yoke. They say, Yoke, we're not going to let you be a scorer. We're going to make you be a passer. He comes out with 13 assists. Okay, James Harden. They say, we're going to get the ball out of James Harden. James Harden averaged 10, 11 assists. You see the difference? But I thought Doc said he didn't know how good of a passer because Kawhi Leonard. I remember.
No, he called him an elite passer.
I can't tell. Look at the little assist totals he got. I can't tell. That's what you do out of the double team. You pass out of it.
I thought he was trying to pass all night to a fault.
Well, 6 of 22 says otherwise.
Well, nobody could make shots. So what do you always tell me about LeBron? Nobody, he had 7 assists because they missed 15 threes. Whoa.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You said, hold on. I remember, you remember, Skip, that right before the All-Star game, they played New Orleans, and LeBron says we're top-heavy. It's bleep. You came out here and eviscerated him. Now, I want that evisceration of Kawhi.
Did
talking about
that?
IQ. No, IQ.
Did he say we're top-heavy?
He's questioning the coaching. Doc Rivers hold on. You said Doc Rivers is one coach of the year. Doc Rivers is won a title. And you questioning. Ty Lue has a title.
Yep.
You question. Sam Cassell won 2 titles as a player. And you're questioning their IQ?
Yep.
I question your toughness.
Yep.
I question your mentality, Kawhi. Come on with it, Kawhi. You the guy. Kawhi says, I don't want to join LeBron. I want to beat LeBron. Beat the Nuggets. This was your opportunity. This was the very first time Kawhi had been the hunted. He was the man that they expected. I tell you, boy, expectations is a heavy burden to bear. Very few people can hold their head up when expectations is pulling it down. Woo, Skip Bayless. Well, boy, it's over for you. He gonna talk about you need to play more together.
It's over for the Lakers.
Play more together. You can't play. What about that load management? Now he wants to play. He, as you said, he quit on San Antonio. He load managed 20-plus games in Toronto. He was load managing. Oh, Kawhi don't care nothing about this. He's got it figured out. Everybody, he's got it. I said, what happens when that load management and they don't win? And I told you, guys looking at him funny. Hold on, bruh. You ain't never practicing. Paul George ain't never practicing.
Did he load manage in the bubble?
You couldn't. You played you can't load manage in the playoffs.
Yes, you can. Heck, you could easily.
How?
He could do anything he wants. They had to just get on their knees and say, what do you want?
He can load.
He runs the franchise.
Oh, he does, huh?
Yep.
But you told me only LeBron did that. You told me only LeBron ran franchises.
He does.
Oh, guess what he can do now? He can load manage all he wants to.
Well, it sounds like Kawhi just might be angling to get the coach removed. That's the kind of shot that gets that gets to the owner's ears, and he starts thinking, man,
Masai Ujiri had Kawhi, he won a title with him.
So we're not answering the question yet.
What?
Are they going to fire Doc?
I don't believe they will, but this is a very strong indictment
I would
against
say
Doc.
so. I
mean, to have your best player come out and say something of this, considering I've never heard Kawhi say anything worth repeating.
Totally agree.
And for him to say this, Skip, there are certain players that really don't say a whole lot, but when they speak, you're like, oh, that can't be good.
Yeah, he doubled down about 3 times with the same quote. He said, we need guys knowing exactly where they need to be in crunch time or in situations where you can't put the ball in the hole. So he's saying when worst came to worst, to me, I'm interpreting it as where was our coaching staff to say, what's our plan B? We revert to what?
I think in the original, Skip, he talked about basketball IQ, but then when he said what guys they're supposed to be, I got him taking shots at his teammates because he's saying they don't know where the hell they need to be.
You could argue that.
But Kawhi, it don't matter.
Hey, when you have epic fails, epic collapses, somebody usually has to pay for it.
Can you imagine if LeBron James had a roster like this, and got put out in the second round, what would be said?
Can you imagine what was said in 2011 in the finals when they had the dream team?
Say it again. Where was it?
2011.
Where was it?
It was at Dallas.
Where was
it started.
No, I want you to say where it was. in the finals, not in the second round.
Yep.
In the finals.
So that was when he was playing in the East. And it was a cakewalk.
No,
finals.
Skip. No.
They're playing the Dallas Mavericks, and they're up 2-1, and it was epic collapse.
So let me ask you a question.
You know what got said through that whole offseason?
Let me ask you a question. Woo. How many teams have come back from 2-1 deficits, and how many teams have come back from 3-1 deficits? Yo got that guy with Paul with a great head coach, a championship winning coach.
Yep.
2 top 10 players.
Yep.
And you let him come back from 3-1?
Well, the GOAT. You tell me he's the GOAT. He let Dallas come back from 2-1, and it was collapse.
I know a guy that...
And remember, his team didn't have leads of 16, 19, and 12. He didn't do that. They just got annihilated in games 4, 5, and 6.
You know what, Skip? It's funny that you said 2-1, because I remember a guy in 1989 had a 2-1 lead over the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna call his name, but he had a 2-1 lead going, and he was home.
You mean the GOAT? Talking about the GOAT. The guy who went 6-0 in the finals?
The only
LeBron is about to be 4-6, which is not that great. It's still 2 games under 500.
Hey, Skip, don't do this. Skip, why you try to steal my moment? You won't let me shine. Let me be.
You're shining.
No.
You got it.
No.
I don't know. Are we going to go on for like 4 more days?
No. We're going to go over October. This is Game 7. Should be October 17th.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we don't get that far, because I need to celebrate.
I am here to state the Clippers lost. I just wanted that out there. The Clippers lost. They're out.
It's not that simple.
Yeah.
So I want you to say what they did. They choked.
The Clippers choked. I called them choking dogs yesterday.
Yeah,
they went from dogs to choking dogs.
I like that.
I have a feeling Shannon is just getting started here.
Yeah.
I don't know. That
I'm
could
just getting
be
started.
dangerous for the show. Let's talk about a different coach dynamic, maybe one that has gotten off to a little bit of a weird start. Brett Favre did warn Bruce Arians that the Buccaneers coach could be barking up the wrong tree after he publicly criticized Tom Brady. And yesterday, Arians responded to Favre's comments by saying, quote, "Tom and I are fine. I don't really care what other people think. So it's just what he and I think." Shannon, what do you got? Do you believe Coach Arians?
I do. Skip, even though he's very harsh in his critique of his quarterbacks, he normally has a great relationship with his quarterbacks. Skip, that's what got him up out of Pittsburgh. The Rooneys thought he had too good of a relationship with Ben Roethlisberger.
True.
As a matter of
they played golf.
They played golf together, Skip. As a matter of fact, we would put the business out there, but they got 2 houses down in Reynolds Plantation in Georgia, right across from one another. So BA has always had a great relationship with his quarterback. Most people think he has too good of a relationship with his quarterback, and sometimes it clouds his judgment. Obviously, that wasn't the case with Jameis Winston, because he felt that Jameis was turning the ball over too much, and he couldn't win with Jameis. And I agree with Brett. Skip, and I said this on Monday, Skip, if you go into a new team and you're Tom Brady, obviously, BA has never coached anybody. He had Peyton, but Peyton was in his rookie season. Peyton, I mean, and so that's a different animal. I mean, you could talk to a rookie different than you talk to a 20-year vet, especially as accomplished as Tom Brady. He had Andrew Luck, but he had Andrew Luck in his rookie season.
Did.
Skip, that's a different animal. He had Ben early in his career, basically his rookie season. So when I'm saying with Tom, okay, Tom, how you like to be coached? Now, I heard, that Coach Belichick would ride you in meetings. Is it okay if I have a harsh critique of you in public, or is that going to put you off? Is that going to, Tom should have said, Coach, I don't mind you coaching me, but the harsh critiques and saying I did this and yada, 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 I would prefer you to save that behind closed doors. Okay, boom. If Tom told him that and he did that, that's going to be a problem. If Tom did not lay the ground rules of how he expected things to go when things didn't go well, well, I don't really know. So now maybe moving forward, Skip, they've had a conversation, and he told BA, bro, I don't really think that was necessary. But I don't think it's going to be a problem, because I believe both men have come to an agreement, Skip. It's hard for me to believe that they have not had a conversation since Sunday afternoon about this, because it's getting Tom, the game has been played, and here we are still talking about what BA said after the game. That's not how Tom operates. Because there was nothing, once Coach Belichick was done, what was Coach Belichick, Skip? Remember his famous quote after Kansas City? On to Cincinnati.
And Tom is on to Carolina.
Carolina.
Yep.
So and so guess what? And they're probably going to ask Tom. I think his media session probably today, his Zoom session. They're going to ask him about that. Tom doesn't want to talk about what has been said. Tom wants you to talk about Carolina and what he's seen on tape and how they can get their first win of the season. So I believe they've hashed this out. I don't believe that we're here again. If Tom throws an interception or two, I don't believe we'll hear BA publicly criticizing.
The only way, to your point, that they are fine is if they cleared the air.
Yes.
And the only way they're really, quote unquote, fine is if Bruce Arians said, hey, I went I got a little out of control after the game. I was just so upset that we lost because I thought we had them.
Right.
I loved the way we prepped for the game. I thought it was right on schedule, and I got a little carried away with the media after the game. The difference between Arians and Belichick, as we've talked about 1,000 times, Belichick would lambaste Tom Brady in film sessions or on the practice field. He never, ever, to my knowledge, did it one time publicly.
No, I've never heard it publicly either.
The only thing he dismissed was it wasn't exactly open heart surgery about the
gash,
25 stitches that he said he had in the gash in the palm of his throwing hand.
And he did throw him up under the bus with Deflategate, though, Skip.
Okay, that's true. Okay, that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
But the point here is when Belichick loses, he will always say the same thing. We got to play better and we got to coach better.
Correct.
Right? He says it every time.
Yes.
It's just cliche, but we got to play better. Everybody's got to play better. The quarterback's got to play better. The defense got to play better. And I have to coach better. Or we have to coach better.
Right.
Bruce Arians never, ever, to my knowledge, says we have to coach better. It's always the quarterback's fault or the left tackle's fault or whose ever fault it might glaringly be in the game. And yet my problem with this remains there's scathingly honest right and there's scathingly honest wrong. And you want to talk about throwing somebody on the bus.
Yeah.
He threw him under the bus for the first interception up the seam to Mike Evans when Mike Evans stopped his route. And he said, just quote unquote after the game, that was definitely Tom's fault.
Right.
That Mike ran the right route because he needed to come across Tom's face.
Right.
And then the next day he corrects himself and says, no doubt that it was Mike Evans' fault. Well, that requires an apology to Tom Brady.
Right.
Boy, I really was hard on you and I was wrong.
Skip, he could have got the same point across and say, we got to take better care of the football. He didn't have to definitively say Tom was wrong, Mike Evans was right. All you have to do, Skip, and that's what most coaches do. We got to do a better job of protecting the football. Okay, Tom knows he has to play better. Mike knows he ran the wrong route or he ran the correct route, but nobody's really at fault, Skip. But when you say, oh, Tom did this, but the question is, Skip, because Tom has been under Coach Belichick and he's used to harsh criticism behind closed doors is one thing. Yeah. Harsh criticism, Skip, my grandmother might whip me at home, but if she got on me at the church or the grocery store, hold on, Grady, in front of everybody.
Just humiliation.
Right. And I think that's what Tom is upset. Tom is upset about this now.
Right. So here's the first quote from Bruce Arians right after the game. He looked like Tom Brady in practice all the time, so it's kind of unusual to see that in a ball game because they didn't do anything we didn't prepare for.
Right.
Well, now you're taking all the blame off you and saying, what happened to my quarterback?
And you're taking a shot at your quarterback, saying your quarterback didn't look in the game like he looks in practice. Like, Skip, you do realize, Coach BA, in practice, they're not hitting. Tom has to understand there's a snap count, there's a clock in Tom's head that he knows he's got to get the ball out of his hand.
Okay, so to me, Tom Brady was the biggest acquisition in free agency history. You can argue what he's got left at 43, but he's the GOAT. They got the GOAT.
Right.
So you have to have some respect for that acquisition and the degree of difficulty that the pandemic presented, the greatest acquisition to sort of ingratiate himself into the new offense, to figure it out, to get everybody comfortable with how everybody's supposed to be.
Right.
You had virtual OTAs. I know he was going to the park to throw the ball around, but then you had no preseason games, and the league threw you under the bus because you got thrown to the Wolves in New Orleans for game number 1. It's the team you picked to win the NFC. I just think it's inarguable. It's the best defense he's going to see, and it was game one with little to no preparation. There was no battle preparation with your new teammates.
Right.
You're hearing different calls from a new coordinator and new terminology in your head. Well, the odds are stacked way against you. And yet, despite all that, against by far the best secondary he's going to see, I thought he played pretty well. You thought he played lousy.
I thought he played okay. I think the thing is, Skip, is that when Tom Brady has been so great, you forget, Skip, that he's human. And he can make a mistake. And that's what B.A. was alluding to, Skip. B.A. says, basically was saying, I ain't seen nothing. What he was doing in the game, I saw none of that in practice. Okay. So I obviously thought he was just going to correlate. But come on, he's Tom Brady. Okay. He's human.
So he made one really huge mistake. It was a bad idea. I don't know what he was thinking, but they're trying to run a screen, and he's got two quick outlets. He's got two right. You're going to have to. It's like an instantaneous decision. I don't like what I'm seeing here. It's almost like a no-look pass out there. And he threw it low and late to Justin Watson, who's about the 5th receiver on the depth chart, and Janoris Jenkins, as wily a corner as there is in football. He picks it. He's like the new Aqib Talib. He's that guy. He takes it home.
Right.
Okay, that's awful.
Right.
But, again, Pro Football Focus says that Tom Brady also pulled off 6 what they call big-time throws. Well, that's pretty good. And that tied Aaron Rodgers for the most big-time throws of the whole first week.
Skip, I can honestly say, in all my years, in my 14 years, I've never seen someone have a out route off of a screen. Normally, if the screen you don't like to look, you throw a smoke screen where you just raise up and throw the ball to the wide receiver. Green Bay does that a lot with Devontae Adams. But I've never heard of we got a screen call, and I don't like
either. I have never heard of that.
So I'm not saying it doesn't. I mean, hey, they may have evolved the playbook, Skip.
Okay, but obviously the idea is you want to be sure to pull the corners as far to the boundaries as you can pull them because you're going to screen it.
Well, Skip, here's the thing. But you have to understand, Janoris Jenkins is not a rookie. He sees that alignment. You're not running a go route.
Yeah.
You're running 2 routes. You're running an over or you're running a speed out. He takes 1 step ahead forward. So now Jackrabbit knows.
And he and Marshawn said after the game, we were sitting on them. They were waiting.
Yes. Because, Skip, most corners are formation patterns. So you see a formation, okay. I look at Skip, he in the back. You think you're finna run that. You're finna run that out route. Okay.
Okay. All right. So one more time, just because this was so offensive, how hard Bruce Arians was on Brady, he gave him no quarter. Like if he had said, he threw a lot of good ones, too, but he threw a couple of bad, however he wants to say it. But he gave him nothing. He just acted like he was pathetic. So I want to see those 6 throws that they rank big-time throws, Pro Football Focus. If we just see them in order, because 4 of them are pass interference, and they don't count on your 239 passing yards, but they accounted for 101 more yards in interference penalties if we could just see quickly what happened. Whoops, I think we got a small snafu. Oh, it froze for a second. We'll get it in a second.
I think, if you notice, he said, we got those big-time throws, we got pass interference. I think he wants Tom to put the ball up even more down the field.
He does.
Because he said only. I mean, 6 is a lot, but I guess he's wanting 10.
Yep, I agree. And that's what he does.
Right.
No risk it, no biscuit.
But Tom, Skip, that's not, Tom is, so basically, Tom has been wired for 20 years, Skip, not just throw the ball up willy-nilly. But that's not how Bruce Arians wires his quarterback. Hey, get a guy a chance. He gets paid too. That's Mike Evans. That's Chris Godwin. He coached Larry Fitzgerald. Hey, throw the ball up. Let him make plays for you.
Yep.
That's how he thinks. But that's not how Tom thinks, Skip. Tom's like, the one thing that Coach Belichick hammered in my head, turnovers get you beat. And I'll force you to make the turnovers. I take care of the ball. There's a greater chance for us to win. So now you're going to have to ask Tom to undo 20 years of what he learned, Skip.
Yep.
You learned one language for 20 years, and now all of a sudden, okay, go speak this language over here.
Yep. So in the end, I believe Tom Brady is quietly thinking to himself,
what have I got myself in?
Like, give me a break. You know, like, what am I doing? Because there's a lot of pressure tonight on Baker Mayfield because they have a home game against Cincinnati. They better win or they're going to fall to 0-2. Equal amount of pressure is now on the GOAT at home against Carolina, which is just an average football team. They took the Raiders kind of to the wire, you know, like, but they're not very good.
No.
Okay, so you better go figure this one out and win this game.
Yeah, you don't want to be starting 0-2 with the Saints.
No.
No mercy. Michael Gallup was called for a late offensive pass interference on a 47-yard catch that would end up costing the Cowboys the game against the Rams. Mike McCarthy said the call made him, quote, sick when he saw the replay. And Gallup said all he was doing was trying to get his hand free to make a play on the ball. So, Shannon, are you buying Gallup's explanation?
No, you can't extend, and anytime the official sees the arm extend, and even though I thought Ramsey did a great job of selling it, see the separation created, they automatically assume that you use that hand to push off. Skipping, when you're running that fast, it doesn't take much. You don't actually have to shove someone. You know when you're just running, Skip, just a slight nudge will throw you off. Because once you're striding, because you see this a lot of time in track and field, Skip, you know, especially distance runners, they're trying to jockey, try to get the inside position, and you see guys stumbling and they push each other. So for me, yes, he was trying to get separation. He was trying to get extra separation. I don't think he needed to do that, Skip, because he had him in a great position. Now, it would have been better had he stacked him. What you try to do, Skip, when you release on the go route, you try to get in front of the guy and get in front of him. Now you put him in a trail position, what we call stacking the DB. So that way you give Dak an opportunity to throw the ball over. Because if you stay hip to hip with him, he's going to ride you and use the sideline as the boundary and possibly, you know, get an opportunity to knock the ball down. So for me, it was an obvious. I knew it once I saw the flag. I said, yeah, they're going to call him for PI. They're going to call offensive PI. So I get it, Skip. It's tough. But no, you weren't trying to free your arm. You was trying to create more separation so you can make it easier to play on the ball.
I guess I got to get new LASIK surgery.
Yeah, you do.
Because I can really see clearly, and the more I watch this, the worse it gets for me.
Look at Jalen Ram. Look at Ram. Look at, come on, Skip, he did that.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
I will bet you, if we took 100 National Football League referees and we sat them down and we showed them in a vacuum that play, that 75 of them would say that's a non-call, that's a no call. Maybe 25% would nitpick it and say, well, he did touch him and he did sell it.
He said it.
Okay.
He sold it.
But I will bet you if we ask 100 NFL fans in the street, if we stopped them and showed them
They
on
better not
an
be
iPad,
Cowboy fans.
any kind of fans, what do you think of this play? Is there a flag on this play? Was this a foul? Was this pass interference? I will bet you 80 to 90% of the fans would say, no, it's just nothing. So when I heard Michael Gallup say we were just hand fighting, which they clearly were, which happens on just about every deep pass, and he said, I was just trying to get my hand free, he's suggesting he was getting fouled more than he fouled back. So again, if we, like Jalen is crafty, he is wily, he is now the top paid corner in all of football, $100 million a year. What's he make? 20 annually, $20 million a year.
Yeah, 71 at the time of signing.
Okay. And he knows he's beaten. And Gallup is saying, let go of my hand. He's trying to restrict his right hand. So he's just trying to get his hand free. And to Jalen Ramsey's credit, he flopped. he actually whiplashed like he got punched in the mouth.
He did.
Okay, that's how he sold it. And this ref bought it immediately. And he bought it so hard, he threw the flag like 50 yards across the field. And when I saw the yellow fly through my TV screen...
You thought it was against Ramsey?
Well, no, I thought it was against defensive holding somewhere in the middle of the field. I thought he was throwing it at somebody else. And again, this is 3rd and 10 from your own 34-yard line with 31 seconds left. And had my team played well enough to be in this position? No, they weren't. They hadn't. But they were in this position.
Right.
And that's a 47-yard completion down to the Rams' 19 with 21 seconds left. So clearly, could they have at least kicked a field goal to go to overtime? Yeah. Would they have taken some shots to get it in the end zone?
Absolutely.
Well, sure
yeah, because I think they had another timeout, didn't they?
I think they did. I'm not even sure about that. But 21 seconds, you can run.
Oh, yeah. You take a crack at it. You take a couple of,
Okay, a couple of cracks for sure, depending on how long the play took. But my point is that I don't care what time of the game is. I don't care if it's the game decider or it's 1 minute into the game in the first quarter. I'm just not throwing a flag on that play because there's not enough there. It's just basic hand fighting that happens on every play, and it wears me out to watch it because my quarterback didn't play great in the game, but that was a great throw.
Yeah.
And again, they wound up 3 of 12 on third down for the game and 1 of 8 for third down in the second half. Obviously, that won't work, especially on the road. And yet, he makes one throw that just took my breath away. I didn't see it coming. I couldn't believe they left it. Well, obviously, Jalen Ramsey's one of the top corners of the league. So they leave him man-to-man on Gallup. Right. And to Gallup's credit, which he can do, he got a big step on him. He got by him. He got loose. And he was pulling away in separation. He had great separation, and the ball hits him right in the hands. No, you know and I know. It wasn't extended.
Skip, I mean,
no, it just wasn't.
You got to get crafty. You got to get crafty. Yep. Just use your forearm. That's all you got to do, Skip. Yeah, because he extended the arm. And once the officials see the arm extend, they see the head snap back. Yep.
He snapped his head back like he was in a car accident because he knew he was beaten. And again, he knew he had only one way out. And I give him high credit for thinking fast on the fly because he's like, uh-oh, I'm beat.
Skip, what do we see with NBA players? Somebody get past them. What the first thing they do? He hit me in the face. Oh, man, come on, he hit me in the face. No good way. That man ain't touch your face. Okay. James Harden is great at that. Marcus Smart is great at that.
Okay, so I think you're admitting that he flopped and drew the flag.
No, Skip. Like I said, sometimes guys pretend like they got punched in the face by Mike Tyson. I mean, the guy, Skip, he extended. You cannot extend the arm.
But it wasn't like a full shove extension.
No, he didn't do him like that.
No. He's trying to get free of him because he's trying to craftily sort of cup his hand down. You know, like
we're trying to armbar him.
Yeah, armbar him a little bit. It's like weird. He's trying to kind of hold.
Because what you try to do, Skip, so he can't put both hands together.
Well, sure.
You make a great one-hand catch. Okay, I chalk that one up to the game. But I'm not going to let you try to hold the other arm so you can't cut. So, you can't, cup the ball.
That's correct. I got it. It shouldn't have been called. I think it shouldn't have been called. I think the world knows it shouldn't have been called. And again, did Dallas play well enough to win the game? Not in total, but they should have.
But that was a great throw.
Gone to overtime. It's the best throw of the night by far.
I mean, that's textbook. I mean, the way we taught it in Denver was 42 and 4. 42 yards deep, 4 yards from the sideline.
That's it.
Give you enough space. The safety, if it's a center field or whole safety, he can't get over there and bother it.
Yep.
That was as good a throw as Dak is. Well, especially in that ball game, like you said, that was a big-time throw, given the moment. But it's PI, so all for naught.
Yep, you got off the hook again. You've been on a little bit of a roll, but you've gotten a lot of breaks here, right? And my team is now under the gun because my team better beat Atlanta because you don't want to fall to 0-2 in the NFC East.
Now, Atlanta got some firepower offensively.
They got a lot of firepower.
I think the defense a little suspect.
Yeah.
They gave up.
So is my defense.
Well, you got one guy that flashed.
Well, so do they.
Grady
Jarrett.
Grady Jarrett. Tack McKinley flashed a little bit, too.
No, he did. They can.
But Julio, we're going to see what y'all corners. Julio and Calvin Ridley.
Remember, Dax had some long days against Atlanta. Remember in 2017?
Well, that was because of his left tackle.
Yeah.
Gave up 7 sacks.
Yep.
He got Claiborne paid.
No mercy. Former Giants All-Pro running back Tiki Barber said Saquon Barkley might not be an every down back. Tiki said, quote, he cannot pass protect. He's starting to become glaring. We see him diving on the ground. He's a big back who wants to play small. Super Bowl champ and Fox College football analyst Reggie Bush joining us this morning. Reggie, is there any truth to this? Good morning.
Honestly, I think this is so petty by Tiki to call out Saquon Barkley for pass protecting or not pass protecting. I don't have the time to really go back and look at all the film to see which plays he's trying to pass protect and he's not pass protecting. This is all I know. Saquon Barkley is a beast with the football in his hands. That is why they drafted Saquon Barkley #1 overall. You don't draft a running back #1 overall so he can pass protect, right? But is that part of the job description? Yes, it is. But if he's going backwards, right? Saquon Barkley, think about the way he's built. Thighs the size of trees, right? Do you want that going backwards or do you want that going forward? And then on the flip side, you got to look at also the coaching staff, right? Jason Garrett, what was he known for when he was in the NFL as a head coach for the Dallas Cowboys? Was he known for innovation, right? Was he known for carving up defenses and winning close games? No, that's not what he's known for. And so you're giving me Jason Garrett, right? And then you're giving me Joe Judge, who you said was supposed to be the next guy in line, right? You said this is the next guy in line. And so if he is the next guy in line, so my question is, why aren't people talking about him taking over for Belichick, right? Why aren't we hearing about those kinds of things? And so you're giving me a special teams coordinator as a head coach, and you're giving me Jason Garrett, and you're expecting the players to benefit and elevate their play from that. But my question is, how are they supposed to do that? How is Saquon Barkley supposed to do what he does, make highlight reel style plays when he is going backwards, when you're asking him to pass protect 35, 40 times a game? That's not why you got rid of Odell Beckham Jr. That's not why you drafted him #1 overall. Put the football in his hands, let him go to work, let him make highlight reel style plays, because that's what he does best. And he's your best option on offense. You have nobody else. So why is Saquon Barkley going backwards? And my question to Tiki is, why aren't you asking Jason Garrett that question? The question should be is, why are you asking him to pass block so many times a game rather than getting him involved in the offense?
Reggie, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I understand the running back has several jobs. His job, if you hand it to him, is to run the football. If you throw it to him, is to catch the football. In certain situations, he has to pass protect. Now, I played with two guys that were outstanding with that. Terrell Davis and Clinton Portis is the best guy that I've ever seen at the running back position that picks up a blitzing linebacker or a DB. He would lay guys out. And what's happening is the reason why they're doing this, if I'm a defensive coordinator and I see Saquon do this, I'm going to blitz because it does two things, Reggie. It keeps his butt in from running pass routes because I ain't trying to cover him down the field, but I also know he's going to shy away from it. So that's what it does. So that's why they do that. Pass blocking is all about wanting to. Early in my career, because I was a bigger guy, Dan Reeves put me in the backfield to block. And I'm like, and I said, and then I'm like, well, how do I do it? He said, son, close the distance. He said, even if you're big, if you allow a guy to get a running start, he will sit your butt in the quarterback's lap. So what I did, Reggie, is that I closed the distance. I would get there in a hurry, and I'm giving him a one-way go. You got to go through me. If I got to block him in the A gap, I'm getting between the center and the guard. If I got to block him in the B gap, I'm getting between the guard and the tackle. If I got the edge, I'm getting to the edge as quick as possible, and so I don't give him all that maneuverability. But it's about wanting to. Yeah. You see what Zeke is tremendous at this. If you go back and look at Pro Football Focus, he graded the highest of all the running backs in pass protection. Because you know why? Because he wanted to. Aaron Donald picked Zeke up like a 5-pound bag of potatoes and threw him to the ground. But you know what it did? It saved a hit on Dak Prescott. And it's just like, Reggie, you know, if you have a running back and you have a problem fumbling the football, they will tackle the football from now until perpetuity until you correct it. Until Saquon corrects this, they're going to blitz him into oblivion.
This is my only pushback. How many times do you think Andy Reid is asking Clyde Edwards-Helaire to pass block, right? Because that's not helping Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and that's not helping our offense. I want Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the ball in his hands, right?
You know
I don't
why?
want him going back too many times.
One guy has Patrick Mahomes and the other guy has Daniel Jones. You better not blitz.
Exactly.
You better not blitz Patrick Mahomes. Daniel Jones, I'm going to blitz him in the dirt.
Okay, but this is also what I want to push back on, because Tiki Barber and you, Sharpe, y'all played in a different era. Tight ends don't block anymore.
No,
and
they
the
don't.
fullback is dying position, right? Tight ends are now receivers now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so for running backs as well, the New York Giants offensive line can't even pass protect, right?
True.
How about let's block guys in front of me first before they get to me, and then I'll try to pass protect and save your quarterback.
Yes, Skip.
Okay. So, by the way, quick point on what you said that Dan Reeves taught you. If you're going to get a running start to light somebody up, you better pick the right guy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there are two guys and you better pick the right one.
Exactly.
Or you're going to get your guy.
Exactly. You got to identify who you got.
Real quick.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. Okay, Reggie Bush, I loved your opening rant at Tiki Barber. I loved your passion and your insight into that. I'm going to go a little bit bigger picture here. I get you. You know, in the end, you drafted him that high because you want the football in his hands, mostly in space, if you can get him in space. Mm-hmm. But the weird thing about this is what Tiki called him. He said he's a big back who wants to play small. What if I told you, Mr. Sharpe, for the last couple of years on the show, I don't understand. It looks like Saquon, his mentality is, I want to be an escape artist, not a pile driver. Mm-hmm. He doesn't love that idea. Like Zeke wants to battering ram you. You know, he wants to just bludgeon you up the middle, as does Derrick Henry or any of the bigger backs. But look at Saquon, like Reggie, you bring up his thunder thighs. Yeah, obviously he's got like bodybuilder thighs. Yes. Like we've never seen anything quite like this. He weighs 233. Reggie Bush played at, what did we say the other day? 205, 207? Okay, 205. 207. So he's 28 more pounds than you played at, and he's actually an inch shorter than you are at 5'11".
He plays 5 pounds heavier than what I played at. I played at 228.
Did you really?
I did.
What? God. Okay, so if you take 5'11" and you stack 233 on it, it's potent, man.
Yeah.
You got a lower center of gravity, and yet I keep throwing the numbers at you. If you take away the one highlight run per game and the one highlight pass, the catch and run, then as a rookie, he averaged 49 rush yards a game and 24 pass yards. Second year, he averaged 50 rush yards and only 12 pass yards if you subtract the one highlight film play. So what he is he's a highlight waiting to happen, but he'll get loose on you a couple of times a game running and catching. But again, can you establish the run with him? He doesn't seem to have the mentality of, I want to be that guy who establishes the run.
Well, Reggie, you know you can prevent people from doing this. If you put your helmet up on a couple of them chin, now all of a sudden they're going to come in there. They're not going to come in with that same ferocity. But now Skip, Reggie, you know how the NFL, it is a predator mentality. They're trying to find the weakest guy, and they will attack. So you have to show, bruh, I'm not it. Y'all better go, y'all better go to the other side. Y'all better try something else. Because if you come up in one of these gaps, I'm going to lay you out.
Yeah, and by the way, Reggie.
But that has to also carry over to the rest of the team as well. Because if I'm getting hit in the backfield before I even get to the line of scrimmage, right? If I'm getting hit in the backfield multiple times, I'm getting hit in the backfield 10, 15 yards, then what are we pass protecting? Because y'all not even blocking in the run game. Y'all not blocking when they blitzing. Like, nobody is blocking on this offense. And this is what, to me, this is what the Giants have to look forward to for the rest of the season. I have seen enough from the Giants to know that they will compete for last place in that division this year. What do you think the Washington Redskins, what their D-line is going to do to the Giants? They just had 8-9 sacks on Carson Wentz. What do you think they're going to do to Saquon Barkley and the Giants?
Yeah, they didn't put that on tape. And that's the thing. They're not very good, Skip. I guess they got to have to run some more wind sprints. So they're going to have the coaches running some more wind sprints. Because after he looked at that film, they should still be running.
Yeah,
Good.
They should still be running.
Maybe my team can win 2 division games, right?
Oh, if y'all don't beat Skip, if y'all don't beat them.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Okay, last quick point to Reggie. Who ran for the most yards ever in the history of the National Football League? Emmitt Smith.
Yep.
Who, in my time covering pro football, was the best at blitz pickup I ever saw? Emmitt Smith. Yeah. So, again, you show your offensive linemen, I will help you, too, if you'll help me.
Yes.
It's like a symbiotic relationship.
Oh, Skip, and we go, and Reggie, you know this, we go in the meeting room with the offense, and the coach go, hey, let me show you what CP, let me show you what Clinton Portis did on this play.
Yep.
Let me show you what TD did on this play. You want to show, and everybody get, hey, man, you did that. Oh, yeah. And everybody, so now we feeling good. So we know, John wants to see, okay, you protected my backside. I'm going to protect you. I see the offensive lineman doing their thing. Hey, I got to get in and get me some too.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I just think that, listen, let's not put all the ownership on Saquon Barkley as to why the Giants are so bad at pass protecting. And really, what it comes down to, can y'all win some football games? Is Joe Judge the right coach? Is Jason Garrett going to revive his career and call a better game plan? Because that game plan was vanilla as it gets. And are these the coaches that are going to help me beat the Pittsburgh Steelers week in and week out?
The Giants aren't very good. I don't know who. The Giants aren't very good, period.
And run blocking, pass blocking.
Yeah, I mean, I do love the passion, though, Reggie. That was good stuff. You came fired up today.
No mercy.
Start your Saturday strong at 10 a.m. Eastern with Reggie on the Big Noon Kickoff Show, followed by the Big Noon Game of the Week as Houston takes on Baylor. I'll be there for that one on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Well, Super Bowl expectations rose quickly after Tom Brady decided to head down to Tampa. And after the Bucs' Week 1 loss to the Saints, one anonymous NFC scout thinks expectations are just too high. The scout said they are, quote, unrealistic. It rarely works, bringing the dream team together. Reggie Bush is still with us. Reggie, do you agree with what this scout had to say?
I do agree with what the scout had to say because there's no magic to this thing. You know what I mean? I don't care how many Tom Brady's, how many Gronkowskis you go get, how many Leonard Fournettes you go get, you still have to put it together on the football field. And if you look at this offseason, this was a very different offseason for everybody. And we talk about this all the time on our college football show. The teams that have continuity returning, right? That's a returning quarterback, a returning system with the head coach, all those pieces. Those are going to be the teams that are better served to win football games. Those are going to be the teams that are better served to be successful because they have that continuity returning. But you think about Tom Brady coming from New England, this is a tough situation for him to be in because he's asked to go and do the same exact thing that he did in New England with less work, right? So think about the game that they played against the New Orleans Saints. That was the first time this team had been together in live action, right? That was the first time this team had to overcome adversity together. And unfortunately, they had to go down to New Orleans and to do it against a three-time NFC South defending champ.
Yeah, it's not easy. Skip, look, the comparable situation that I can think of is Peyton Manning. But what Denver allowed Peyton to do, Skip, bring your system.
Yeah.
We're going to learn your system.
That's true.
And not you learn ours. If they had said, Tom, come on down, we're going to implement your system. Mike Evans, Godwin, offense, we're going to learn Tom's system. Okay. Yep. But Tom is learning their system. That's not easy to do because Tom knows how to throw an out route. But what's the verbiage that get him to throw the out route? So that's what he's having to learn over again. And the expectations. When you get Tom Brady, expectations are Super Bowl. You get Peyton Manning, it's Super Bowl. You get LeBron James, it's Super Bowl. There are certain guys that you get on your roster, the expectations are through the roof. And it's going to take time. I knew it would take time. People just think, well, he's great. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about no verbiage. No. You got to go through it. And as you mentioned, Reggie, this offseason was unlike any other offseason in NFL history. Basically, this was the first preseason game. But in actuality, this game counted, Skip, for real. Because this was the first time they're going against someone that's not in their color uniforms. And to do this on the road, and then, like, all of a sudden you're playing a game, Coach Belichick says it's like practice. But the only thing is, at practice, you're trying to get better. In the game, you're trying to win this game. It's a tough situation. Do I believe they will get better? Sure. But for people to actually think that you were just going to throw this thing out there and Tom Brady was going to throw for 5 touchdowns and they're going to go up and down the field, it just doesn't work like that. There will be some growing pains.
Okay, Quick question. What happened in Denver the year before Peyton got there?
They won the division.
They did. And it was Tim Tebow, and I get it. It was a whole different way. They just had to scrap everything and say, we're going to run the read option, and we're just going to try to figure it out. Right. And they did. They won the division, and they beat Big Ben Roethlisberger in a playoff game. Right. And then they went to New England and got
ramshackle.
They did. Okay. So at least Peyton joined a situation that was on the rise. The defense was on the rise. The offense had weapons.
They had comparable weapons.
They did.
You had Demarius Thomas, you had Eric Decker, you had Julius Thomas.
Okay. I got it. Okay, what's the only real dream team situation we've ever seen in the National Football League? Well, speaking of 2011, that summer, the Philadelphia Eagles had a whole bunch of cap space, and they had a brand new, young, rising GM named Howie Roseman at age 35, and he said, you know what? Let's just shoot the moon. Let's go out and overpay everybody on the market, strap ourselves against the cap, but let's see if we can go win this championship this year. And what do? They get my friend Nnamdi Asomugha, and I was like shaky on this, take him from Oakland, where he's a man corner, and you try to put him in zone coverage. And then they got Cullen Jenkins, and they got DRC, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie.
Yep.
And who the only one who worked was Jason Babin, because he had 18 sacks that year, but everybody else they signed, Ronnie Brown, the Dolphins.
Running back, yeah.
But
Vince Young.
Yeah, Vince Young.
Because he won the corner turn.
He did it, but there was an interview that he did. His first sit down, he's the backup quarterback.
Yep.
And the last question in the interview was, what do you think of all these pieces you guys have added the last couple of days? And he chuckled for a second and said, dream team. And that quote lived in infamy, because that team started out 4-8. Then it won its last 4 games to get to 8-8. And it was like Cowboy-esque, where they were 4th in yards gained in the league. They were 8th in yards allowed. That's pretty good, right? And they went 8-8, and it was a big bust, big swing and miss. Well, this is very different than that, because most of these pieces were in place. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so you add the GOAT quarterback and the GOAT tight end.
Right.
And late you throw in Leonard Fournette, but he's still just the backup running back. It's Rojo all day, all night, right? And so my point is, how is that a dream team scenario? It really isn't, because the offense, it was really good last year.
Yes.
It led the league in passing yards.
Well, Skip, it's kind of like when you bring in a substitute teacher. She doesn't change the entire curriculum for what the regular teacher's been teaching. She has to learn that. But in this situation, Tom Brady had to learn a new. If you let Tom say, well, Tom, just bring your system. You've been in this system for 20 years. It's easier for us to learn your system as opposed the other way.
No.
Okay, Skip, now I would expect to see Tom on top of it.
Okay.
But learn a new system. And plus, Skip, look, missed the first game, and I don't want to read too much in it. But I need to see Gronk move a little better than what I saw on Sunday.
It was shaky, I agree.
So
I mean, I thought Tom was a lot better than Gronk was. Go ahead, Reggie.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it don't matter how many pieces you bring together. They are really good on paper as a team, right? But at the end of the day, you got to show up on the football field. You got to put it in motion. Tom Brady has to get used to his new weapons, his new receivers. You got to trust them, right? And the same thing with the offensive line, the defense, everything. You got to know exactly what you're getting every game from your guys. And there's no way that every single one of those players on that team knows that yet, because they're still developing that chemistry. There's no magic to this thing. I know sometimes we look at basketball, right? And a guy like LeBron James, or you can put a team together and you know, okay, that team's going to be in the playoffs. It does not work that same way in football, I promise you, because there's so many elements that you have that work against you, right? One of those is injuries, right? Who has had more injuries than Rob Gronkowski? That boy is beat up. And so I don't care if he take a whole year off, 2 years off, it doesn't matter. Those injuries don't go away. And the same thing for Tom Brady. You don't get more youthful when you leave. He's already in his 40s, right? And so I think, again, people have to lower your expectations for this football team. Yes, they were all great individually in their previous teams and in their careers, but when you're trying to put all that together in one season with no off-season work, it's very tough to do. Yeah, you got to trust, Skip. I mean, Tom Brady spent years with guys, with the Julian Edelmans and the guys that he's built up trust with. Although Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are better, B.A. wants him to put the ball up. You talk about 6 big-time throws. B.A. wants 16 a game. And you got to rewire Tom to say, Tom, just throw it up. Where Tom's like, nah, I've been cautious. I don't just throw the ball up willy-nilly and throw it into double coverage. If the guy's open, I throw him the ball. If he's covered, I go to the other guy that's open. That's how I do it. But Tom has got to get rewired, because B.A. wants him to take chances that he's never taken in his 20-year career. So, bottom line to this, I'm still all in on the Bucs, but you guys are both right. The odds against this are high because there were no preseason games. Right. That's what the hard part is. And even with Joe Montana, Skip, Joe Montana went to an offense. Paul Hackett was the offensive coordinator. He ran the exact same offense that Joe had in San Francisco. So Joe had to learn no new terminology. So he just walks in and two-jet flanker drive. Why bingo pig?
Remember who presented Joe at the Hall of Fame? Paul Hackett. So it was like, here.
Exactly.
No mercy. The Steelers voted as a team to wear the name of Antoine Rose Jr., a Pittsburgh teen shot and killed by police in 2018, on the back of their helmets week 1. But offensive lineman Alejandro Villanueva surprised his teammates when he replaced the name with that of a black U.S. Army sergeant who served in Iraq and died from injuries sustained while rescuing wounded soldiers. Head coach Mike Tomlin told reporters that he knew beforehand what Villanueva was going to do and would support any player expressing themselves who did so with class. So, Shannon, what is your reaction to this story?
I didn't like it because the team voted. If that's the case, Skip, why would you vote to do this? If you're going to let the team, if you're going to let your players be individuals, why would you take a vote to do this? This was a local team that lost his life through police violence. You decided as a team, this is the name that we're going to represent.
Yep.
Everybody agreed to it. And then he goes rogue. Now, Alejandro Villanueva, Skip, if I'm not mistaken, he served a couple of tours in Afghanistan.
3.
So he knows what it's like to be in the military and to follow protocol.
Yep.
Because in A Few Good Men said, you follow orders or people die.
True.
And that's, Skip, if you notice, Skip, football is the one sport that's closely related to the military. They use a lot of military terms because you're asking another man to put his trust, his faith in your hands while you do the same for him. Skip, if Alejandro Villanueva thought this was the right thing, why not take it to the captains? Why not go to Cam Hayward? Why not go to Ben Roethlisberger or the leaders and say, guys, this is what I'm thinking? Why go to Mike Tomlin? And this is why I also said Mike Tomlin was a part of the problem with Antonio Brown because he let it get out of hand. Now, this is not the first time that Alejandro Villanueva has gone rogue. Nope. James Harrison said they took a vote about the protest. And they were 2017. They were going to stay in the locker room the night before. Everybody says, we're staying in the locker room.
Remember, Soldier Field in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yep.
We're staying in the locker room. What are we going to do, guys? We're staying in the locker room. What are we going to do, guys? We're staying in the locker room. 5 minutes before, Villanueva, he goes out there, he's staying at attention.
He goes down the tunnel and out the tunnel. He doesn't go all the way to the sideline. He just stands at attention, hand over heart.
Right.
During the anthem.
Right.
By himself.
I got no problem with that. But if we decide to do something as a team, we're going to do it as a team. Just like what the Cowboys, they said, look, only one guy took a knee. Dontari Poe. Most teams left it up. Whatever you decide to do, guys, do it. But if we decide to do it as a team, Skip, we're going to do it as a team. But Alejandro Villanueva think it's slick. He think it's slick, Skip. In other words, he does not believe in the cause that they're doing this for. So what I would do, I'll put a military guy. He's still black. No, bro. That's not what you decided. Even the mom said she was disappointed that you crossed the name out. Really, Skip?
I think she was crushed.
Yes, Skip. And look. Al, we appreciate your service. We appreciate all the men and women's service, the sacrifice. But you know this. I want to ask you this, Al. If you're in a platoon and the guys agree to do something, are you going to your commander and say you can do it one way and everybody else has to do it another way? You would never do that. So you don't get a reprieve just because you served in the military. You're not beyond reproach, bro. So don't think we don't see what you did.
I got it. I hear everything you just said. You're right. In this case, he was wrong. But let's take a quick look just in a vacuum about how his mind was working here. It's impossible to argue with the name he chose and the personal connection he has to the sacrifice that name made and why he chose it. Okay, just for those who don't know, Al Villanueva was born into a military family. He was actually born Naval Air Station in Meridian, Mississippi. Then he moved all over the world.
As military family does.
As they do. And he was in Spain and Belgium in high school. And then he went to Army, to West Point. Played football. Was actually a wide receiver at 6 feet 9 inches tall. So he had the feet. So you knew he was destined to do something. He went undrafted and he bounced around for a while. And he continued to serve out his military commitment. As an Army Ranger, became a captain, 3 tours of Afghanistan. And during one of the tours, I believe it was his first one, he was awarded the Bronze Star Medal for rescuing a wounded soldier under fire. It's a big deal.
Great deal.
Very few Americans know what that feels like, right? Okay, so we honor that. We get that. So he chose the name. he didn't know this man. He just knew of it because it became a famous act named Alwyn Cash, black soldier, who in Iraq, going back to, I think it was 2003-ish, there, he was in a military vehicle that hit a landmine, exploded, caught on fire. He was doused with gasoline. He got out, but there were 6 soldiers trapped in the vehicle.
Right.
And he went back in to try to save them and saved all but one who was, I think, a journalist, actually. And in so doing, he got burned over 72% of his body, and he didn't die immediately, but he soon succumbed.
Yeah, probably infection.
Yes. So he decided, Al Villanueva, to honor that black soldier because he did what Al did to go back and try to save wounded teammates, if you will. Okay, so we get that.
Right.
We honor that. In a vacuum, we get all that.
Yes.
But in the end, he has new teammates. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Thank you.
And he's a good player. He's a left tackle, and he made 2 Pro Bowls in 17 and 18. So he's a good player.
Yeah.
We get that. But he's not being a good teammate in this case.
No.
He's just not being it.
No.
And he wasn't in 2017 either. And you used that phrase, he went rogue. He did. And again, he did do one good thing. He went to his coach. Now, why the coach didn't tell the captains, I don't know. Mike Tomlin decided to keep it to himself.
The guy that you mentioned that he ended up writing the name on the back of his helmet,
Yes.
why not at the time they're discussing Antoine Rose Jr.?
Yes.
Why not at the time they're discussing that? Why not broach that subject then?
I don't know.
You
It's a
know
great
what,
question.
Skip? It's easy to say I'm sorry than ask for permission. Because they had decided that because it's kind of like Milwaukee, Skip. They took it personal because Kenosha is very close to Wisconsin. So what happened with Jacob Blake touched them personally.
It did.
So they said, this is what we're going to do. Antoine Rose Jr., hey, this is Pittsburgh. We're fighting race. Skip, they all lined up. You see what they did? They had a sign. I think it said end racism, if I'm not mistaken. Well, why didn't he hold up his own sign?
Okay.
Why would he hold that sign then? So you want to pick and choose, but Al, you think you're slick. Al ain't slick, Skip Bayless. I know what he's doing in this situation, and a lot of people see what he's doing, and he wants to use the guys of the military to try to. Al does not believe in this cause.
It comes across. I don't know that for a fact, but it comes across that way.
Thank you. Skip, it's not an accident. It's not an accident that he did. He didn't tell anybody that he was going to do that, what he did on 2017. He didn't tell anybody. He told no one but Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's getting ready for a game. He don't want that wearing on the team where Al's going to go rogue. So he doesn't tell anybody. All he had to do when they're discussing, guys, we're thinking about putting Antoine Rose Jr. He could say, guys, if you don't mind, there's a guy, I didn't directly serve with him, but he did something very heroic. I would like to honor him. I would like his family to know that we're thinking about him. But that's not what he did.
No.
He took it upon himself, and he went rogue.
And I still don't understand why he did go to Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin defended him and said, as we all said, you can do whatever is in your heart here as long as you do it thoughtfully and with class.
Skip,
but he didn't inform the rest of the team. So what's your pet peeve in the locker room after a game? You won the game.
Right.
And you're getting asked questions about something you don't even know about. Like, I don't know why.
Exactly.
Ben was asked about, why did he have a different name on his helmet? I don't know.
Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward seemed to be really upset about it.
He was upset about it, but he's a captain.
But Skip, but I told you there's a lot. There's some things that's going on. Because when Ramon Foster and they started taking these shots at Le'Veon Bell about holding out, I said, Skip, there's some leadership issues going on in that locker room.
I know.
And hey, we can't, as Mike Tomlin, as good a motivator as coach as he is,
I got it.
He runs a loose ship.
He does.
And he gives too much. Look, I understand, Skip. There's certain, I mean, you let certain things, you treat everybody fair. You don't treat them all the same. But it can't be blatant and obvious. You see, he started off letting Antonio Brown do this. And Antonio Brown got more and more powerful and took more and more and more. Until Al, no. We decided to, this is what, no. This is what we decided to do. Now, next week, if you want to do that and we want to move in a different, if we want to put someone else, we'll do that. We'll all do this as a team. We are a team. Skip, I'm big into that. I'm big, and for me, Skip, I've always kind of been the leader. I've always been the voice of reason. And whatever we decide, Skip, when I was in college, Skip, I got the guys say, you know what? The basketball team, we were struggling, Skip. I said, you know what we ought to do, guys? We ought to put on suit coats, get some toilet paper, and the first time they score a basket, we're going to throw the toilet paper on the court. Man, Sharpe, that's a good idea. I said, now, if you're not wearing the suit coat, don't come.
Yep.
Skip, we all got put our suit jackets on, went to the game, threw the toilet paper, had a good time, won.
Yep.
Skip, if we decide to do something as a team, no matter what it is, we're going to ride that out. Because at the end of the day, Skip, we're a team. You need to know that I can count on you. I need to know that you can count on me.
So, the mother of
Antoine
Rose had, she was just devastated scathing by this, and it was scathing, and it was piercing, and it was insightful because she said all the right things. She said, I want to be very, very, very clear. She honors the military, but she said they took a team vote to honor my, obviously, decision.
Yes!
And her conclusion was, but this one person showed us exactly who he is. Wow.
Simple.
Okay. Yep.
That's why he did what he did. And he was like, well, I'm Skip, if that's the, you should have said the night before in 2017, he said, guys, y'all know I'm in the military.
Yep.
Y'all know the flag is very important to the military, to me. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that. Even for this one time, I'm not going to be able to do it. Okay.
Okay.
But to go it alone, to say you're going to do it, and this is the second time, and then you write that? So basically, you wrote over the top of the guy's name.
In honoring the man he chose, he dishonored this victim. Yep.
The team dishonored the guy the team, which he's a part of, chose.
Correct.
I thought in the military, Skip, you follow strict orders. Strict orders. There's no breach. There's no, oh, well, I didn't want to do that. Huh? Is that what they teach in the military? Yeah. I didn't think so. I don't think so.
He's still saying my allegiance is to the military, not to my football.
Military ain't cutting you no checks.
Whew, it is interesting.
Boy, Skip. You know, I ain't playing, Skip. I came around the right time because I would have a problem in some of these locker rooms today. Because I'm big in the team.
They might have a bigger problem than they're letting on internally.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
you are big on team, but you say that because you know from experience.
That's how you
over
win.
the last couple months, our theme has been the importance of conversation. So if he's not even sharing his thoughts with his teammates, have we not made progress at this point? I mean, that should be the open dialogue. That's the goal.
No mercy.
Well, the Heat already swept the Pacers and then bounced Giannis and the Bucks in just 5 games. And now they also stole Game 1 from the Celtics thanks to clutch shots from Jimmy Butler and a game-saving block from Bam Adebayo. So, Shannon, you did pick the Celtics before the series started. Are you sticking with them?
Yeah, I'm going to ride him out, Skip. I just think Kemba needs to play better. He was 6 of 19 from the first, in Game 1, and he hasn't played well. Kemba is an all-star. Kemba know he needs to play better. Jason Tatum got off to a hot start. But, Skip, I thought he took some poor shots. I believe that last shot in regulation, he could have got a better shot than what he took. He took some questionable shots down the stretch.
He did.
Yeah, he had 30 points, but it took him 24 shots. He needs to become more efficient. Jaylen Brown, I mean, Skip, you look at the roster, you got Tatum, Brown, Kemba, Smart. Gordon Hayward hasn't played, but he's going to be inactive this game, but he's going to come back during the series. So they got a very talented team, and they come off the bench with Wanamaker, and guys of that, Tice is a nice player. So, but the thing is, they get out to these big leagues. Miami's not going away. Miami's cut from a different cloth. Skip, I never gave Spoelstra the credit and the respect that he deserves because I'm like, well, then how hard is it? You got Braun, you got D-Wade, you got Bosch, you got a veteran ball club, Battier, hit the shot, Ray Allen.
Yep.
So, but watching him over the last couple of years, Skip, he's a hell of a coach. He gets these guys, and they play hard. They play hard for, regardless of who's on the court, they don't care who gets the credit. They're going to play hard for 48 minutes. They're going to play hard from when they're on the court. But I'm going to stick with the Celtics. I believe they bounce back tonight. Kemba have a bounce-back game, and they win a close ball game.
Okay. I picked the Heat before the season, the series started. The more I watch the Heat, the more I am so intrigued by what's going on in Miami. Something is happening here where not only do they play hard, they play smart.
They do.
They play together. And in the playoffs so far, they're 9-1. Has everybody missed the fact? They're 9-1.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I told you earlier in the show, Fox Bet has vaulted them up to the second favorite. The Lakers prohibitive, 3-5. Next favorite is the Heat at 4-1. Now, the Celtics are favored tonight by 2.5. But they might be favored by 2.5 the next few games.
Right.
And I'm not betting against this Heat team because when I made my prediction, I just said Heat over Celtics because the Heat have Jimmy Butler. And I told you the other day, we were ranking players to where does Luka fit? And I think I went 30 deep and I forgot about Jimmy Butler. There are very few players in this league I would want in my foxhole in a playoff game more than I'd want Jimmy Butler.
Especially in playoff games, Skip. This is where, and especially in a situation like this.
Yep.
Because he's as tough as they come.
Whew.
He's a very unselfish player. And he said it, I'm not for everybody.
Nope.
He's the right player for that team.
He chose them because he wanted to be the man in Miami, and he liked the makings of this team. Now, from what I hear just on the telecast, he and Goran Dragic are like best buddies now. Like they're inseparable in the bubble.
You could see why Jimmy Butler would choose Miami for one reason, Pat Riley.
Yep.
Pat Riley about one thing, about winning games. All that other bull jive stuff, Pat Riley ain't about that.
Yep.
And these guys, Skip, they don't have the names of some of the other players that he played with.
Yep.
Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, but they play hard.
Yep.
And I think that was the allure of Jimmy Butler. Watching them from afar, probably going against them. Damn, these guys playing harder. I'm playing with guys that's more talented, and they not playing as hard as these guys that doesn't have nearly the talent.
Yep.
So just imagine if I get with them, because I'm tired of having team meetings. I'm tired of come on, guys.
Yep.
Come on, guys. Hey, we just get in the huddle. Hey, play our tails off, break.
Yep. So Dragic is now 34 years of age. He's been around and around and around. But he's still playing at an extremely high level. He's averaging 21.9 a game, then 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Jimmy Butler's right there with him, 21.6 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. But Bam is 16, 11, and 5. So he's tied with Dragic. They're the 2 assist leaders.
Right.
So Bam, you want to talk about a good passing big man?
Yep.
Who dominates in every way possible. You know, like he's doing everything, including that all-time great block that we saw the other night.
Right.
He plays as hard as any of them.
He does.
Play. And
he's really the centerpiece because he's really skipped the defense. He's their rim protector.
Yep.
He's their guy. He's challenging all shots. He's their rebounder because he's the biggest guy. Because they don't have, I mean, when they come in with Olynyk, but Olynyk is not the banger, is not the defensive guy.
Yep.
He's more of a perimeter stretch guy than Bam. Bam can shoot the mid-range game, but Bam is more inside. They're going to be tough. The Celtics got their work cut out for them.
Yep. Look how deep they go in double-digit scores because then it goes Tyler Hero, who's just impressed me. You know, I told you the other day,
Almost had
it's been a
triple
long
dub.
time since I saw a rookie play with this kind of poise and clutch toughness where he is unafraid to take and make big shots. He's averaging 14, 6, and 4. Then Jay Crowder is 14 and 6. They're all the same. You know, it's like interchangeable cogs here. And then Duncan Robinson, who can just shoot the lights out, he's 10, averaging 10 points coming off the bench. And during the regular season, he shot 45% from 3. Olynyk is 7 and 5. So they're all coming in. I love Iguodala. I know he's kind of on his last leg.
Right.
But Hero actually took his spot in the rotation. They're deeper than you think. They're mentally tougher than people have estimated them to be. And they did go 44 and 29, finishing the 5th seed, and now they're playing like the 1st seed.
And Skip, all those little points you talk about, well, this guy averaged 13, this guy averaged 14. They add up.
They do.
They add up to 100 and something points at the end of the day, and they play deep. They don't make mistakes down the stretch, Skip. They get the shot that they want, they get it where they want, and they get who they want to take the shot. But they don't have a problem. Hero, you open, shoot it. Jimmy Butler, you open, shoot it. Dragic, shoot it.
So they were barely second to Utah in the regular season shooting threes, three-point shooting percentage. They can shoot it, man.
They can.
And they will pound you on the glass because they will all go to the board.
Yes. They pounded the Celtics on the glass the other night.
They did. So I'm sticking with them. They're intriguing. LeBron would just steamroll them.
Ah, there you go. No, Skip, don't do that. Skip, don't do this.
Well, come on. But they're fun to watch in the East, and then that'll be it.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
LeBron versus his old team.
Yeah. Somehow we're already bringing LeBron into this conversation.
No mercy.
Sunday on Fox, Dak and Zeke lead Skip's Cowboys in their home opener against Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Or you may see the 49ers take on the Jets, or Aaron Rodgers hosting the Lions. All the NFL action kicks off at 1 Eastern. Check local listings for the games in your area or watch it on the Fox Sports app. So LeBron headlined the All-NBA first team, which was announced yesterday, by becoming the only player to ever be named to 16 first teams. 16, joining LeBron, Giannis, Luka, Harden, and AD. Shannon, any issues with the first team selections?
No, I don't. I mean, 16. I mean, the man has only been in the league 17 years, Skip.
I thought he played like 30 years.
So are you telling me, so every year except what, his rookie year, he's been an All-NBA player?
Yeah.
And he got 13 first teams. So he broke his own record of 12. So the next closest is Karl Malone and Kobe with 11. I mean, he's pretty good.
I mean, if Jordan had played 30 years, he'd have 30.
And no, he wouldn't. All I know is Jordan played 15. And he ain't got 15 first team. He ain't got first team All-NBA selections. My guy does. So he will next year. Skip, I really don't have a problem with it. Would I have been upset if they'd have put Dame? But as you mentioned, Skip, they stopped the voting once the regular season ended. So they didn't have those play-in games.
Yep.
But I'm not so sure, because if they'd had the play-in games, maybe Dame, because he was the bubble MVP, maybe he would have swayed some of the voters. But I don't have a problem. Luka was 29, 9, and 8 and got the 7th seed. Dame averaged 30, but he was the 8th seed. So you can see, Skip, I don't have a problem with the first team. I think they got it right with Giannis, LeBron, AD.
You left one out.
James Harden. What?
Luka.
Yeah.
Luka.
Yeah. Luka was there.
He's on first team.
Yeah, he should be.
How?
What you
Why?
mean? 29, 9, and 8?
We're not doing the playoffs. We're doing the regular season,
29,
right?
9, and 8. There was the 7th seed.
Huh. My turn?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're disqualified from first team if you shoot 31.6% from three. That ranked 140th of 147 three-point shooters. You're almost to the very bottom of the bottom. 31.6. Is that good?
No, it's not
No,
good.
it's terrible. How about free throw shooting? He's 75.8. That's a little above LeBron, but it's still no good. It's not first team.
Okay, well, so
All-NBA.
how you go? You got to take Giannis off.
That ranked 85th of 118.
What you gonna do with
He's
Giannis?
a guard. He's a guard. You got to be able to make some free throws.
I mean-
at least make like 80%, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Here's the deal closer. In what are called clutch situations,
Yes.
the last minute of games, with the score tied or within one bucket of each other, Luka took 10 shots during the regular season.
Right.
He missed all 10. He was 0 for 10.
Yeah.
You're done. You're out. And you know who got robbed of that slot? A guy I've never been the biggest fan of, who had his best year ever in his lengthy career, Chris Paul, CP3. Look what he did for Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah, it was the best in
Did
clutch.
anybody see this coming?
No.
He didn't have the unicorn. He didn't have a Porzingis.
No.
He had Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Gallinari and, Schroeder.
Right.
Pretty good,
Yeah.
but he was sensational.
Yeah.
He led the league in clutch scoring.
Yes.
Any clutch time basket, he led the league. He was second in clutch free throws made. He was third in clutch plus minus, but he led the whole league in clutch scoring. That allowed Oklahoma City to lead the league in clutch games won, where
Yeah.
it was close to the finish. Last second wins.
Right.
They had 30. They went 30 and 15 in late games.
Yeah.
30 and 15. Dallas went 17 and 24. 30 and 15. 30 by far the most clutch wins of anybody, led by CP3.
I mean, it's
Well,
good. It's a hard position because you got to think about it, Skip. There was no Steph, so
Okay.
Steph come back. Steph's gonna be in the mix. No Klay Thompson.
Okay.
Bradley Beal could have made a case to be on the third team. But for me, Skip, I ain't gonna look. We can nitpick and say Luka needs to shoot better, and he does need to shoot better. 80% would be great for a guard to shoot from the free throw line. Sure, I'd like to see him shoot 35, 36% from the three-point line. But Skip, I can't overlook 29, 8, and 8. at 20 years of age. That's what he did.
Okay, but even the one game he beat the Clippers with the last-second bomb, he had shot three-point air balls in that game. Well, he just misses everything. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Skip, you know he averaged a triple-double against y'all.
Okay, I got it.
Against 3-4 lockdown defenders.
For much of that, there was no Porzingis.
Yeah, so he doing that without his sidekick, without the unicorn, and was giving y'all work.
Yeah, which indicated what was about to happen against Denver. The same things were happening. They're blowing big leads, so it was happening already. But in this case, Chris Paul had a year, man.
He did have a year. Skip, Dame had a year. Luka had a year. My guy. My guy. You'll be able to do that. You know my guy.
I told you by the end of the pre-pandemic regular season, he should have been the MVP.
Unanimous.
He had a great year.
At 35.
Yep.
But hold on. What about he fall off a cliff? You remember he fell off a cliff, though, Skip. That's what everybody said. He got hurt. He ain't the same LeBron. Can I interest you in 25, 10, and 8? Can I interest you in that?
Can I interest you in 28 and 27, his first year in L.A.?
Hold on.
28 and 27.
What I got to do it now? What did Kawhi do last year? His first year in Toronto. What did he do?
Can I interest you in the blooper tape from his first year in L.A.?
Show me the blooper tape from this year.
Huh?
No.
I'll show you the one from the first year.
No, this year.
It's embarrassing.
No, this year, Skip.
Yeah, I think we don't have
this year. No, I want you to show this year blooper reel. All them blocks. Get it out, Russ. Everybody, James, get it out.
All I know is he had a great regular season, and then he got every break any superstar could ever get in the postseason.
Let me ask you a question. I want to know if any of these guys went to the bubble. Did Giannis go to the bubble? What about Kawhi? Did Paul George go to the bubble? Did Dame go to the bubble?
Your point is what?
So I'm trying to figure the break he got. All these guys were in the bubble, right? Okay, so what break did LeBron get? Did he go to another bubble I don't know about?
He got to play a 35-39 team in the first round. He got to play a team that lost a key contributor in the second round, Daniel House.
Okay.
And now he gets to play a Denver that is a three-point shooting team or bust, and you watch, it'll bust.
Hold on.
A team that you owned in the regular season.
You guys were the number 2 seed. You had an opportunity to play us. We took care of our business. But you worried about our business. You didn't take care of your business.
True. I'm glad you admit that.
What?
Thank you. That's exactly what happened.
Okay, so what they got to do with LeBron? How did LeBron fall? So how did he get a break? Because he didn't do y'all didn't do y'all homework.
Yeah. Well, he benefits.
How did he benefit?
And then on the other side of the bracket, it's either Miami or Boston. Seriously, there's no Milwaukee.
Where was Giannis? Was he on the other side? What about Toronto?
There was a rumor he was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, okay, we're leaving the bubble, guys, because we got football tonight.
No mercy.
Number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow, is coming off a 3-point loss in his NFL debut and will face former number 1 overall pick Baker Mayfield tonight. The Browns were crushed by the Ravens 38-6 last weekend. There have now been conflicting reports on Cleveland shopping OBJ. So, Shannon, which QB has the better game tonight, Baker or Burrow? I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys do.
Skip, I don't really have a whole lot of faith in Baker, but I do believe his Browns will win tonight. It's a short week, and you're dealing with a rookie quarterback in Joe Burrow. And I thought he played okay on Sunday.
He did.
Didn't get the win. Field goal kicker got hurt, and then they tried a late field goal at the end and ended up missing it.
Yep.
Had a touchdown overturned by offensive pass interference, A.J. Green.
You realize they led that game 13-6 going to the fourth quarter.
They
over
did.
The Chargers.
Yes. So I'm gonna take the Browns to win this game, Skip. They can't go 0-2.
They cannot.
They cannot. So I'm gonna take. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Baker, but I'm gonna pick them to win tonight.
This is a huge night for Baker Mayfield. They cannot fall to 0-2 with the expectations placed on that team, especially to a doormat division rival in your home stadium. So I like the way Joe Burrow played. And again, has he not been on big stages before? This isn't going to be new to him, right? So I believe he will put up better numbers than Baker will tonight. I'm hoping Nick Chubb saves the day for him. Nick Chubb day.
Yeah.
And it could be a Joe Mixon game on the other side, too. And
they still have Kareem Hunt for the Browns.
They do have Kareem Hunt. So maybe it'll be more of a run-the-ball type game, and they'll survive. But Joe Burrow ran it 8 times for 46 yards the other day.
Long touchdown run, the quarterback draw.
Yeah. So in the end, I think Joe Burrow will outplay him, but maybe I'm just hoping that Baker survives with the dub.
Well, this needs to be a Myles Garrett game.
Yeah.
You got a rookie quarterback, got a guy coming into your building, you're a $100 million guy. You need to go put Joe Burrow on the ground a bunch.
It is going to be real watchable.
Yeah, but the Browns, Skip, they can't go 0-2.
Nope.
No. Well, and all eyes on Odell, whether or not they're shopping him or not. He needs to have a game. Guys, that is it for Undisputed. Thank you for watching us today. The show's back, same time, Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Have a good one.